Hi, David Stewart here. I thought I'd talk a little bit today about transitioning from a smaller instrument to a larger instrument, or specifically from a small neck to a large neck. What we have here is an 8-string guitar, 8 strings, count them, which produces a bigger neck than a 6-string guitar. And this is a question fielded by someone on the channel, so I thought I'd answer it, on how to transition to a larger neck and more strings. And this is about the physical transition as well as the technical transition. The easiest or simplest answer I could give to someone who's like, I want to transition to a larger instrument is practice the new instrument, practice it a lot. But that's kind of an oversimplistic answer, and it doesn't make for a good YouTube video either. So here's a couple things to keep in mind when you are looking to transition maybe to an 8-string guitar from a 7, or to an 8-string guitar from a 6, or from a 6 to a 7, or from, this also applies from electric to classical, because the width of the nut on this guitar is exactly equivalent to that of a classical guitar. So the width of your neck on an 8-string is the same as it is on a classical guitar. So the first thing that you should do whenever you're transitioning is improve your thumb position. Most often the people who I've encountered that feel like the neck is really large, or they have difficulty reaching things on, say, an 8-string guitar, or feel intimidated somehow by the instrument, have a really bad thumb position. So see where my thumb is here? This is what I consider a bad thumb position. A lot of people use it and they get away with it, and you can on a 6-string neck, because it's just so much smaller if we put them next to each other here like this. You know, a 6-string neck, God, you could really reach around and have no problem fingering a chord. But on a bigger neck, on this 2 and it's about 2 and an eighth, I think, is the width of the nut. It's a lot harder to say finger a C major chord like this and have it feel comfortable. So if you keep your thumb from here, put it in the correct position, put it behind the neck. Adopt a more neutral thumb position, you're going to have a lot easier time reaching all the way across the neck, regardless of how big the neck is. You can play an 8-string bass and apply this technique well and be able to transition to that as well. The other thing, if you're transitioning to an 8-string, is the scale of the instrument. Rather than just how far apart the strings are or how big the neck is, there's also to keep in mind how far the string is from the nut to the bridge down here. This is a standard scale. This is 25.5 inches. They make a lot of 8-string guitars that go all the way up to like 27-inch scales, and so you'll have to get used to that by practicing. There's just no other way around it. You just have to spend some time with the instrument getting used to it. And a Gibson scale is even shorter than this one. A Gibson scale is like 24 3/4, so it's 3/4 of an inch shorter. It's the frets are a little closer together. So that's the first one. Keep your thumb behind the neck, and you're going to have a lot easier time reaching all the way through the strings, from the lowest to the highest without any difficulty. The second thing is to minimize the right hand movement. So a lot of things that I see with players that are a little bit inexperienced is they tend to, let's see if we can do the right hand, tend to strum their guitar like that if you're a strummer. And when I'm doing that, I'm hitting all kinds of extra strings I don't want to, rather than just the C major chord. So you have to learn to shrink that big movement down to the movement that's just going to hit the strings. And you can practice that by playing through and landing on a string with a strum. Shrink that movement down and practice playing on one string at a time, and 2. So you could practice some tremolo picking. You can practice tremolo picking on 2 strings and on 3 strings to sort of get that feel down. So shrink the right hand movement down. You're not going to hit a lot of extra strings. You're going to have more control over all the strings you're doing. The third thing is to play different music on your new instrument than you do on your former instrument. This is kind of a muscle memory thing, so your brain and your muscles don't get confused. But I don't play classical guitar music on the electric guitar, at least not very often, unless I'm trying to, I don't know, show something to someone and I don't happen to have a classical guitar handy. I play really different music on an electric guitar. I play different music on an 8-string than I do on a 6-string, and I play different music on the electric guitar than I do on the classical. Classical guitar has its own repertoire, as does the electric guitar. So whenever you're transitioning to that new instrument, rather than trying to play the things that you used to play on your new instrument, find the new things that you actually want to play on that instrument. And then every time you go back and forth, your brain and your muscles and your fingers will automatically know sort of what mode you're operating in. I have no problem switching between an electric guitar and a classical, which is just as wide as this and has a very, very different feel and set of techniques. In fact, there were many days and many years where I switched between them multiple times a day, playing, performing, teaching, going to rehearsals, doing that sort of thing. And I had no problems adjusting between them because I played like jazz and metal and rock on my electric guitar, and I played classical and flamenco on my flamenco guitar. The music I played was totally different, and that helped a lot. So anyway, those are the three things. Keep your thumb not above the neck, but behind the neck, and you're going to have a lot easier time reaching across a bigger fingerboard. Shrink down your right hand movements by practicing one string at a time to two, so that you can have a really accurate right hand, which will help a transition to a 7 or 8 string tremendously. And then the third one is play different music on the new guitar than you played on the old guitar, so that you don't get confused. You don't confuse your hands trying to adjust to a different instrument. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you found it useful, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.